Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman, and we're talking Main Street and the small business lenders who help it grow. Friday, March 19th. We're moving along. Katie, good to see you. Lance is AWOL in Indianapolis watching some sort of basketball tournament. I don't know, but he deserves the time off. You all know about certificates. Print them out, save them. And that helps document what you're doing for training. Hey, let's go to the polls. A lot of information today. Number one, how long is it taking SBA to process your PPP loan forgiveness application reviews for loans $2 million and over?
I'm interested in this one because we've heard there's still several. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all with 77% at over a month. I've heard a lot of institutions saying that they haven't had, in some cases, any of them. Of course, some of these institutions only have maybe 2 or 3 of them, but over a month does not surprise me at all.
Right. I think less than a week is a fat finger response, but...
well, maybe they only had one.
There you go. Yeah, it's so you're not, basically we're running this poll to let you know you're not alone. SBA is reviewing them. It's taking time. And let's go to the second question, which is how long have these apps been in limbo? And I'm looking for the longest response. Ouch. So that puts over 4 months. That puts 2/3 over 4 months, which is.
We were discussing this, I think last Friday as well, when it was just Lance and I. It's really making borrowers kind of nervous as well, and they're scared to apply for a second loan because they've got these first draw loans that are still in this forgiveness limbo, and it's going on, 4 or 5 months now, and they're scared to apply for another one, even if they are eligible.
Yeah, I understand that, especially when you're talking larger dollar amounts. That's a huge impact to the entrepreneur. If it's a $2 million forgivable grant, for lack of a better term, or if they have to convert it to a loan, 1% is 1%. We'd like that, but $2 million is $2 million. So I think the advice that we have on that is it'd be dollar sensitive, over $2 million, document. What we did this year is, because our data shows 2020 shows a sterling performance by SBA loans, we went through and gave it a little bit more in depth. We do have our 10-year revolving data, as always, which shows charge-offs. We also have 8 years, which shows a little bit better numbers for loans made 2012 to 2018. But we did one thing further. We went back, and this is, Joseph, I believe this is for 7A. And loans to full-service restaurants had the highest charge-off percentage in what year? And what we did was, so by the way, 58% is correct, which makes sense. And we went in there to that, what they call a cohort. And actually, the charge-off rate on that is pretty high. Restaurant loans made in 2011 were almost 75%. So that 2011 was not a good year to make restaurants, and obviously it improves as we go down the table. The reason why I wanted to do that is because if you're a loan made in 2020, hopefully you're not going to have a charge-off, or even 2019. So we try to put things in perspective in terms of what's behind the numbers on that. Katie, what is our new administrator saying?
So she made her official statement. I believe that went out yesterday evening. I just hit my inbox this morning saying that she's very excited to start and to return to SBA after she had worked under the Obama administration in SBA before. She's very excited to return. She talked about how she's really dedicated to small businesses, not only because she's helped her family with small business, but also just all the things she's done for SBA before. She wants to continue helping. There's not a lot here except for she's very excited, and I'm very happy for her.
Yeah, she's not a banker per se, as Contreras Sweet was, but I think she was on a board of a bank. She's
Yeah, she
definitely,
was. She
okay,
was. It was a while ago, though.
yeah, but definitely understands that it was a smaller bank, the challenges for community bankers. Do you have offhand, what was her position at SBA before? Under the
I don't have it in front of me right now.
What I'd like is that she has had some experience in the agency, so she knows the culture a little bit, and that having a little bit of experience, she knows obviously the higher ranking civil managers, civil servant managers, and that will shorten her learning curve tremendously. So that's interesting. Katie, we got news yesterday. What was it?
Yeah, so the SBA issued an interim final rule that's implementing the PPP changes that came about through the American Rescue Plan. And if you remember correctly, there were some changes in there related to PPP eligibility, a couple size standard changes, and a couple things changing about the shuttered venue operators grant.
Katie, we're going to give you a test in all the acronyms, just so you know.
You need to give me that when we first started, but we're probably going to need it again with all the new PPP related ones.
Right.
Yeah, so the newest version of the American Rescue Plan, the one that passed, changed up the shuttered venue grant program a little bit in that it allowed certain businesses that already received a PPP loan to get a grant. However, this new interim final rule does kind of have some restrictions on that might mean that you don't really get it unless your business received a PPP loan after December 27th. So if they were approved after December 27th, then the grant will basically be reduced by the amount of a PPP loan, which was something we already expected from this program. If the PPP applicant has a shuttered venue grant already and now they're applying for a PPP loan, if the SBA has not issued that loan number yet, then they are going to be completely ineligible for PPP. So that is it's going to create a restriction, unfortunately, on this.
But the grants, just to clarify, the grants are not available as of today, correct?
No. So the SBA, I did check the website earlier today. They're looking to open in early April. And it looks like they're working on their portal. They've got a link to their portal, though it's not really open. You can just sign up and get information about the program, and they'll email you as soon as things open up. But they are currently shooting for an April opening.
Katie, do you have a quick definition of what a shuttered venue is? Do you know those offhand?
I don't know if there's an official definition of shuttered venue yet. Yeah. It's just going to be one that had to close. I'm guessing due to COVID, there's going to probably be some kind of way to define that later on or prove that you had to shutter due to COVID. But there's not really too much information yet on their website or in the bill itself.
Yeah, the reason I asked the question is I haven't seen it in the specifically laid out. We know obviously concert venues, movie theaters, wedding venues. We know those are all in there. So we'll follow up that a little bit more.
Yeah, I think museums are eligible too, and obviously theaters and things like that. But I'm not sure the full list. I don't think has been revealed yet.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about restaurants yesterday. Any news in the last 24 hours? And quickly recap what you talked about yesterday.
So yesterday we were discussing the restaurant revitalization plan program, which is not fully open yet, but they are talking about opening it up a little sooner than we originally expected. Originally, a lot of us thought that it was going to be a 2 or 3 month thing to get up and running. But a representative from Oregon yesterday did say that he's hoping to get it open and up and running probably within weeks rather than months. So that's good news. We don't really know the exact timeline yet, but these businesses do need this. And we had someone on last week who was talking about this, and it really will help a lot of businesses. We expect it to almost run out practically very quickly.
John Winnick said, 10 days? Something like that?
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be 10 days, but it is a lot of funds, but it's also very needed. Yeah, so it might run out.
By the way, I threw you a curveball asking that. You were able to come up with the answer. Look what Joseph did. Joseph pulled up yesterday's slides. We're running on all cylinders today. Good to see. Who needs Lance? All right. Don't tell him I said that. And of course, we have to, real quick before we get to Jeff's comment question, we still think PPP extension will happen. We're pretty confident of that. We don't know when that will be done. John Riossi of American Banker said yesterday he predicts it'll be done by the end of March, which makes sense. You haven't seen anything in the last 24 hours changing?
No, I checked this morning. There's nothing really new on that. As we know, the House already passed their version of it, which would extend it to the end of May and then allow any loans that are in limbo that are waiting for an approval, let those go through the system for another 30 days, bringing it through June. That bill has already passed in the House and has moved to the Senate. The Senate has not addressed it yet. However, they have their own version of the bill, which is exactly the same. So either way, it sounds like they're going to get that bill passed.
Yeah, and they had
with those.
Yeah, and they've had a hearing on it. It's going to pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've addressed it multiple times, and it sounds like that's definitely what they're wanting to do.
Yeah, there's no one that's coming out specifically against that. There may be votes against it because of other factors, but I have yet to see someone say, no, absolutely not. We're not going to extend it for 2 months. Well, the money's there. It's been allocated. It'll get done. This came up yesterday. We were talking about the franchise registry, and Jeff said, hey, Coleman, we had a regional franchise concept turned down by SBA since they were not on the registry or had their agreement approval. I don't know if Jeff's talking about a PPP loan or a 7A loan. Obviously, 7A loan, they're ineligible. So let's assume it's PPP. And Katie, what have we found out?
Yeah, so there is an FAQ that's addressing this in the PPP FAQs, which is 23. And it essentially says that the SBA will be checking to see if they are on the directory. However, if they're not on the directory due to a size standard issue, there is a bit of a workaround in order to get them listed so that they can receive a PPP loan.
And the workaround is?
Not defined in that FAQ, unfortunately. I think probably you're going to go into the portal and email SBA. I'm sure they have either a drop-down box or just the general information section, and they'll be able to answer further because I believe they have to work specifically with that specific franchise and get that specific franchise approved for the PPP.
Yeah, the answer is if these are affiliation issues, and if it's a 2 or 3 or less than 10 unit franchise, there's going to be no problems. This one is the larger franchises, but not denied earlier. You may have to go into it. So the answer is yes, it can be done, but it's difficult. Vicky says, hey, if the lender was authorized to accept the certifications of the borrower and received an SBA loan number due to SBA system errors, why would Inspector General refuse the guarantee? I don't believe the Inspector General would refuse the guarantee on that particular instance. Again, we talked about there were duplicate payments. I do not believe that report addressed going back to the lender and refuse the guarantee. Did it, Katie?
I don't remember that portion of it. I haven't really checked to see that. But I don't think they're necessarily going to do that. Ideally, the borrower would return the duplicate amount. which has already happened with numerous loans and has fixed most of the problems. But the ones that are left over, I'm not sure how they're going to be addressing that yet. And I don't think the SBA has officially said how they're going to be addressing that yet.
Yeah, Vicki, if it's a lender error where the lender's inputted it twice, that may be problematic. I don't see the Inspector General going after a lender which funds the loan and simultaneously another lender funds it. In order for the guarantee to be invoked, it has to be fraud, it has to be eligibility issues, things that the lender controls. That'll be very interesting. On this particular instance, I wouldn't lose any sleep over that issue. Very quickly, we have finished our reports. I think we added them all up. We have 14 pages. Katie and Joseph have done a great job on that. And we have the order form attached to that. This is for 2021, and there's all that great data. We're finishing up. We have it by 7A, 504, franchise. We have the 10-year. We have the 8-year. All the franchise codes that have been listed, all the NAICS codes. And this is our big report that we do every year, and it is done. So you can use the order form there, or just shoot an email to myself or Joseph, and we'll be more than happy to take care of that. Here we go. There's a question. Sarah says, do we need to wait on new applications before applying for PPP loan if they also plan to get a shuttered venue grant? The problem is, Sarah, we don't have the final guidance, do we, Katie?
Well, I mean, there's the guidance that came out the other day that's of course talking about this issue. If they are applying after that December date, which it sounds like they are, then they can get both, but that's going to be a little bit tricky. Otherwise, you know, it's going to be tricky, but I think it can be done.
So, but we want to do the order. The order first is to go PPP loan, then shuttered venue. If you go shuttered venue, you cannot get PPP. Am I correct in that assessment?
That's what it does sound like.
Yeah. Okay. So I would say, Sarah, go ahead and apply for the PPP. The PPP loan, I do not know what the calculations are for shuttered venue loans. My gut instinct is the PPP loan is going to be less than the shuttered venue amount. Worst comes to worst, they're going to deduct the PPP from shuttered venue. We're speculating on this because we don't have the final guidance. So I would say,
you just have to remember that deduction will be in there. So it's something to be prepared for. And of course, you know, prepare the borrower for that as well, that it's not going to be that full, amount. You're not doubling up PPP and shuttered venue. You're going to have to take out that PPP portion from the shuttered venue grant.
That is confirmed, Katie. We have to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great. Well, thank you all for joining us. We respect your time. Katie, good job. Thank you. Everyone enjoy the weekend, and thank you for joining us for Coleman Report Live and for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time.
Have a great day.